You do the bucket thing?
You got to have buckets. Every boat has to have buckets. It's just it's your gear catch-all, you know. Or
and you can pee in it if you got to.
I was going to say,
do the deal.
You use that as a porta potty.
Smackdown, that's all you were excited about was the bucket.
The bucket. We got a bucket for entering the tournament.
It's all about the bucket.
You got a bucket.
And we were going to talk organization on the boat, and we went right to the bucket.
Are we going to do an intro here?
We could. We got Nick. Hey, Rob Endsley here from the Outdoor Line, 710 ESPN Seattle. Nick Kester in studio today from All Star Charters, a longtime Puget Sound charter captain. And Nick, you were talking about 4 to 6 different lures.
Lures is all you
10,
do.
10, 12, 15, 20.
Right.
But 4 to 6 lures. All you need for Puget Sound to catch blackmouth in the winter. What are we talking about here, man?
Talking about a LT light.
Okay.
Silver horn spoon, 3.5 inch.
What color? What colors we talking?
Cookies and cream and Irish and cream.
Okay. Okay.
Coho killer in white lightning and Irish cream and cookies and cream.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things about the Coho killer, a little bit fragile at the tip.
Very fragile.
You do this on your boat, I know too, is add a swivel to the back of it.
Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't.
Right.
It can hinder the action on it, and so you got to consider that's a really fine wire lure. If you start adding stuff to it, it's going to change things up.
True.
Well, you can add a lot of weight to the back of that lure too, and change the action.
Exactly.
But Tom, you're saying that because if you don't have a swivel in there, you can actually get the twisting action. Guys have had those things break off.
It happens because if you anytime you got a narrow point on a piece of metal, it can fatigue, it can pop. Okay, and is that going to happen the first time you fish a spoon? No. But after you get a hot one that gets paint ground off it, you get some wear.
It always happens on the biggest fish of your life. It never fails. So that's a neat little trick that guys can do to keep that from happening.
So we have to pay attention to the bait sizes, the forward sizes, because these feeder Chinook, I mean, if you're not fishing something close in size to what they're feeding on, you're going to be less successful than the guy that's really paying attention to bait size.
Exactly. So we talked about 2 lures there. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. What are we talking about here?
Hoochies.
Okay.
Right there.
A standard size hoochie.
Standard size
Not a
hoochie.
needlefish.
Not a needlefish, standard size hoochie. If you're going to run needlefish, you might as well run a spoon because I think you can get more activity.
So a white, glow in the dark, UV, anything in particular?
As long as it glows in the dark and it's green.
Green? I thought it was white.
Green, white, glow in the dark.
Okay.
There we go. So basically, if you want to be a complete salmon angler, you've got to learn how to mimic bait sizes going in quite a range. You're going to see stuff that they're feeding on as small as this and as big as that. And you learn how the bait size progresses through the season.
So how do you tell how big a bait these guys are feeding on? What do you guys do?
First one you catch, check the gill plates.
Okay.
See if he's been hitting the bottom. Grab your fillet knife and cut him open and see what he's been eating.
If he's been hitting the bottom, that means he's feeding on candlefish.
Right.
Right.
Or the herring could be stuck on the bottom. It could be small herring. So you need to do those 2 things. Look for gill plates, and then look for belly. See what he's in.
Okay, on the show today, you were talking about plugs. That would be the last thing you might use, especially when there's a whole bunch of bait around. What kind of plugs are you using, man?
I'm using for blackmouth, I use a 4-inch or a 5-inch atomic.
Okay, and there was a couple numbers you mentioned, 2 numbers.
602, 603.
Okay.
If you have those 2 plugs, which are basically the same paint pattern, but I don't know why one has a red head, one has a pink head. Some days the pink works better than the red. I have no idea. But I don't ask. Just run. I don't want to solve that problem.
We don't want to know.
The fish are always right. No question about it.
But when you have plugs, you need a lot of bait. Very rarely do you catch fish on plugs if there's not a lot of bait around. Because it's just a completely different activity in that bait than that. If you got bait, you go artificial. If you don't have bait, then you go real gear.
So if you have a range of gear on your boat, it can get scattered and become a mess, all right? These leader wallets, you can organize your gear, different sizes as you flip on through.
What brand is that one there, Tom?
You know, this is a Fin Sport leader wallet. Got an Outdoor Emporium. They're really common, but they got all these little pockets in it. You can keep things organized to size and color. In addition, you get your Hue Cove flasher bag full of flashers, okay, and you can set these up and be ready to go.
That's a nice way to do it because you can switch out your flashers. You get it really quick.
Really quick. So, and rig everything up the night before, so you shouldn't have to really tie a knot on your boat anymore, right? Because there's all this gear available to you, all this way to stay organized, and so all you're doing is snapping stuff on with swivels.
There you go. There's some great tips for fishing Area 9. It opens the 16th. Don't forget to tune into the Outdoor Line next Saturday, 6 to 8 a.m. on 710 ESPN Seattle.